Hello and welcome back to Get Celebritized. I know you're coming back because I know you have wonderful times when you get to watch this show, and I got so many wonderful friends and fans that come back week in, week out to learn how to earn more, live more, and give back more. And today is going to be no different. I have another phenomenal TEDx speaker from the TEDxSanDiego event coming up June 11th, 2023. Don't worry, if you've missed it, you can see it on the World Wide Web on YouTube. But right now I'm going to bring him up because he's going to talk about his platform that is very special and dear to his heart. And I think many of you are going to enjoy this topic a lot because it is widespread. And I've got Stu Weintraub here, and his mission is to inspire minds, heal hearts, and awaken souls, as many people as possible on the planet. Here's why. Stu is a self-acclaimed warrior peace advocate for kids caught in the crossfires of divorce. He's the founder and CEO of the Center of Child Safe Divorce, whose mission is to help parents keep their kids out of the crossfire of divorce-related conflict by choosing mediation over litigation. We're going to talk to him about the difference in that. And seeking support from clergy, counselors, and coaches instead of resorting to court. He started the Center for Child Safe Divorce in 2016, and bring him up because I know that this is a huge pandemic. And if we can make this situation easier and better for the children, I am all ears. So let's bring Stu up. Stu, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I am so glad to have you here. Divorce, what is it? 1 out of every 2 marriages end in divorce, and usually they have kids, and people don't know what to do. What can we do different? You get into the same old pattern of divorce. The kids get split up, same old decisions are made. I know I've been there, done that with divorce. And you're bringing this different perspective. So before we dive deeper into what your TEDx is about and how you got onto the TEDx stage, let's talk about what you do exactly and why you do it.
Thank you. I do a lot of things. I'm a visionary and a social impact entrepreneur, and but my main work actually is I'm a shamanic energy healer and a coach. And so I've just been given this task. I've come here to share messages, and I help people wake up. And really, it's about helping them get unblocked from love, the universal healing energy. And so in private practice, I see people during divorce. My passion actually is help parents keep their kids out of divorce-related conflict, but also preventing divorce, helping people have better relationships. And that starts with healing ourselves, as you know. Most people don't want to get a divorce. They just want to be happy. They just don't know how to, and they've lost that spark. They've lost that connection. And I love helping people, coaching them, and with healing after divorce and dating again. They don't realize why they're attracting the same person over and over again. So this is about energy. This is about a shift. This is about getting back to our truth as the essence of us as energetic beings, which we are filled with love. And then over time, we get these, I call them barnacles. And we start to build up these barnacles in our channel that we get blocked off. And this happens between 2 people in relationship. It happens between us and our higher source, our God, our higher power. But then when divorce happens, it happens between those co-parents who are like this.
Right.
So my real passion is to give a voice to the children who haven't been heard because they don't have a voice, and then to stop that conflict.
What happened in your life to give you this platform to speak for the children? What catalyst, what trauma situation happened? You decided that this was a voice that needed to be heard. This is a situation and a category that nobody's addressing, and their voice isn't being heard.
That's a great question. It's probably 3 things. First of all, I was very sick as a child. I actually experienced what it is to no longer have life, and I came back. And so that was my initial initiation, if you will, into the shamanic energy healing that I am today and that I do. I experienced my parents' divorce. I was in my early 20s, living in Vail, Colorado, like finding myself after college. And I remember to the day my parents fought. They lived in the same house, and the empty nest syndrome. And they had like that stereotypical Kramer versus Kramer. The police were coming to the house, all these allegations, 2 lawyers, hundreds of thousands of dollars was probably
But you were
spent.
an adult, so did you have younger siblings?
I have one older, one younger. I'm also the middle child, so I'm the mediator. I'm the born
Gosh.
problem solver. I have to say that.
God.
So I'm just tailor fit for this. So I experienced my 2 parents going through this process, and to this day, they don't have a relationship. They don't speak. And so, as I want to just mention that we're still kids, even if we're adults.
Yeah.
It still impacts us. We still have these longings as adults. No matter how much therapy we've done, we always have this innate desire for our parents just to get along. And why is that? Because we're half of each of them. So I repeated the cycle. I married an amazing woman, beautiful, and we had a relatively short marriage of 5 years. And she decided to end the marriage. And by the way, preface, we are on wonderful terms today, and our son is amazing. But it wasn't that way when the divorce happened. And mediation wasn't an option that she knew about or was able to consider. And it resulted in a very, very painful experience for me on the other side of a very powerful, expensive, very punitive attorney making up allegations about me. And it was just very, very painful. I'm a sensitive guy. But it didn't matter how painful it was to me. It mattered that it impacted our.
So that's what my TEDx talk is about. It's called The True Costs of Divorce. And in summary, it's time that we address this situation and call it what it is. It's an epidemic. Over 1 million children a year are impacted, and almost 1 out of every 2 will witness their parents' marriage break up.
Yeah.
And it's not about, I mean, we don't have a divorce problem in this country. We have a getting married problem, how to get married and how to stay married problem, but that's another part of my practice. Once divorce is not necessarily wrong or bad. When it's inevitable and when it's happening, I'm here to say there's another way to do it. And unless there is egregious evidence of significant violence, abuse, active drug and alcohol use, criminal behavior, neglect, those things, family law court's there for that, okay? And so are the attorneys. But most people are fighting over court because they're emotionally charged over being hurt from infidelity or just disappointed in the relationship, and the kids don't belong in the crossfire of that conflict.
What's the alternative? If it doesn't have to do with those traumatic things, you said that it's irrevocable differences and growing apart, or like you said, infidelity, something like that. What's the alternative? What should they do instead of going into the court system? What's the alternative?
Right. It's a 2-part thing. For the divorces that have already started, it's summed up in 4 letters, 1 word: stop. Just stop. And detach and disengage. It doesn't mean that you can't still go through the process using an attorney. I just advocate mediation. And there is a way, even in high conflict. I'm a high conflict divorce coach and actually an instructor for high conflict divorce coaches. I'm certified as that, but I don't practice that. I advocate people getting out of the crossfire, getting out. I cannot get punched and I can't reach the opponent if I step out of the boxing ring. So that's what I ended up doing relatively quickly in my own situation in divorce. I just realized this system is a no-win situation. Endless amount of cash going into the attorneys.
Right.
I have nothing against attorneys, but they're not incentivized to get you finished quickly. So if divorce,
stop. All right. So you don't do anything except you stop the lawyers, you stop everything.
Well, to detach emotionally, number 1. Okay. And that takes support. People can't do this on their own. They need support. So there are 12-step groups that can support in this. There's coaching, a clergy person, a trained coach, and a therapist are all really well situated to help somebody disengage from the conflict. It still might be appropriate to go through legal proceedings, but you don't have to do it with anger. You don't have to do it with fear. You don't have to do it with punitive things. I coach people on specific things like this. I learned it one day. Every negative thing I ever might say or even think or feel about my son's mom, and I don't call her ex, by the way. I coach people, that language comes out of your vocabulary. because it has energy and it's not kind to the children. So my former wife, or his mom, is how I refer to her. And I learned that everything I ever might have said out of anger or frustration, resentment towards her, was going through his heart. And it stopped me. I said, I no longer will say those things. I might not be perfect, but I'm going to stop it today. And I told people around me, because family and friends, they love to jump on that bandwagon. Oh, she did that. Oh, he did what? Oh my gosh, you need to go after no, when there aren't kids, go for it. Have a good time with that. When there aren't, no, it's great. Fight. My work is when
there's
my
kids,
work
it's a
is
different story.
the attorneys deserve to pay their mortgage and build extensions on their houses. I'm a big fan. But when there are children involved, and by the way, I have nothing against attorneys. Attorneys are needed and necessary in our process. It's just how we utilize them.
Exactly.
And I have some very dear friends of mine who are family law attorneys, and they say to me privately, off camera, Stu, I love what you're doing. I would much rather have 10 cases that resolve, that could be settled quickly, than the 2 or 3 where the people are fighting for years. And I see what happens to the kids. I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. So it's summed up as this, and this is my upcoming book called The Heart of Divorce. And it's a play on words from the heart of war.
I can't help notice the heart behind you. And you were talking about kids going through divorce, and your son went through this, and he did that picture behind you with the heart in it.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk a little bit about this, because it shows that you did some things right. He obviously turned out amazing. Look at that talent. So tell us a little about the heart and that picture painting photograph behind you.
Thank you so much.
Kids.
My son Jared and I is my one and only. He's 21 today, and he's a very successful. He's a student up at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And he is super amazingly talented as a nature photographer, and it's his passion. And he created this when he was between 15 and 16. I have to look it up, really.
Wow.
But there's a small version of this over my other desk, and he took this picture. It was original wave at Newport Beach, California.
So that's his picture? He took that photograph?
Yeah, he captured this one
Beautiful.
in Newport Beach. It's called The Wedge. It was his favorite spot to go boogie boarding. It's world famous up in Newport Beach. Okay. And we used to take him up there. And he captured the image, but for Father's Day, he rode his bicycle to the local store where they had a kiosk, and he printed out a little 4x6, and then he went next door to Michael's and got a little frame, and he gifted it to me for Father's Day. And it just touched my heart so much. To this day, he won't put it in his collection. He's got hundreds of nature photos in his gallery online, and he's showing in Laguna Beach. He will not sell this print because it was just for me. And what it represented at the time was just, the connection that divorce is a spiritual awakening for me. It was not terrible, right? I have thanked his mom in hindsight. Right. It all had to happen. It all was what it was. But out of it, he's amazing. We have an incredibly close, emotionally available relationship. As a result of divorce, and other people might be able to relate to this, it forced me as a father to spend really intense one-on-one time with our child, with my son.
That's important.
And a lot of people don't have that. When the families are intact, they're too busy. They're going to soccer. They're going to Costco, Home Depot. And the one thing that I've observed in our modern culture, and it's not necessarily an epidemic that's all negative, there's some good that's coming of us. It's forcing the parents to really engage as single parents with the children when it's their time to do so.
I like that, because we take for granted when everything is just kind of same old, and all of a sudden it starts breaking apart. You cherish those moments. But I love what he did in that photograph, how he mirrored the same wave, put it together to make the heart, kind of like mirroring you. So for Father's Day, it's got you and him and the heart in the middle. Gosh, that is just so beautiful. I love that. So you did something right. And on that note of doing something right, there's a gap here I want to ask you about. So you've been through your parents' divorce. You were an adult, but you went through that. And then you went through your own divorce. When did you have that aha moment? What did you do about that to say, hey, I need to do something different. I want to help the children. So talk to me about what that aha moment was like, because you didn't just go from, okay, your parents got divorced, and now look at you, you're advocate for the kids. There is a moment in there. What was that? And then did you go to get certified, get training? How do you learn how to do something that you want to do, which would be a really good learning session right now for the viewers?
Oh, that's great. It's hard to pinpoint the exact moment in time. It was so painful, and as I'm very empathic and very sensitive, just going to that courthouse brings back visceral feelings and memories. It's like PTSD. It's a
Yeah.
great question. I partied away the feelings for about 2 years, as many men do. Um, got out there and dated people and had a few cocktails, and that lasted 2 years. And then I actually completely, the universe dropped me, took everything out of my life, and just, I had a full reset. I had a entrepreneurial business. It failed. I lost everything. And it was like, wow, we're starting from scratch here. And I sat as a visionary. I have endless amounts of entrepreneurial ideas. It's what I do. But there was one that just wouldn't go away. And I had the visions just come to me. I can't say why or how, but I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to bring this message that there's a different way to do this. I was led to some co-parenting classes. During the divorce process, the court ordered us both to go to a co-parenting class. And it was a tiny little nonprofit here. I'll give them a plug because I love them. They're beautiful, amazing people. A bunch of social workers put it together. It's called Kids Turn San Diego. And they help a couple hundred families every year. Amazing work. And it's where I learned the children have a voice. Here's what to do for pickup and drop off. Here's what's not to do. A parenting plan that changes as the children's age increases. There's different timeshares that can be healthy and appropriate. Just little tips and tricks. And I said, why isn't this available on a larger scale? And so a lot of people say the divorce system's terrible. I'm going to do something about that. But as soon as things are settled and that marriage settlement agreement is signed, they're like, I am running so far from this whole thing. I am done. I'm gone. Like, get me. Can't wait to get on those dating apps and start my life over. And I went through a period of some renewal, and got pretty much, opened up into the spiritual lifestyle that I live today. And my healing practice was born. And I was led to not only the Kids Turn nonprofit, and I served on their board, and I spoke at as a keynote speaker at their fundraiser. Big honor. But I also was led to the high conflict diversion program. And I went through that, and then I became an instructor. So I'm trained as a certified high conflict diversion divorce coach. As I said, I don't choose to work directly in that space. I have others that take care of those clients for me. I deal with the ones that are really, and those are for people when they're really up against a narcissistic personality or someone who's got mental illness or active drug addiction. And my heart bleeds for them. But there is a technique that can help anyone. Doesn't matter. Everyone's pointing the finger. This is what I teach. If you're pointing the finger at the other person, there's 3 fingers pointing back at us. And that's where the work starts. And and it's not self-help. We cannot do this by ourselves. We need someone trained to hold the space and be the mirror. And that's my innate gift. As a healer, as a shamanic energy healer, I've been mentored and following teachers for 15 years, various Lakota ceremonies and hundreds, and just been led to as a Reiki master healer as well. So I've been doing this my whole life, and all of this converged together. So I am able to hold space as a healer, but I'm very effective in coaching people very succinctly and very directly.
Wonderful journey. Wow. Just wonderful eye-opening moments and how you turn this around. And I love talking to people that have gone through the traumas, have gone through the tragedies and turned it around to their life purpose and their message. And it just makes it all worthwhile the way you could say, okay, I've been here, done that, and I can help others. And you just took it to a whole nother level. So how does TEDx work into all of this? Tell us a little bit about how you found the TEDx, or did they find you, how you got on the stage, and is this going to be your message? Like, is this part of the impact you want to make in the world by using the world-renowned stage of the TEDx?
It is such an honor. Actually, I manifested it. I just knew that as a messenger, this was my calling, that I need I was supposed to, I can't, I'm not satisfied helping just one or two at a time. I knew this was a big message that the masses need to hear. And so the red dot showed up, and I was given the opportunity. So humbled. I was so humbled when they selected me. It was a very, very competitive process here in San
Yeah,
Diego.
it always
And
is. But how did
and
it
it's
show up?
it's all about the idea worth spreading. It showed up because one day one of my clients came in. I have a boutique energy healing
Okay.
practice, and one of my clients came in and said, "You should do a TED Talk. Have you ever done a TED Talk?" I said, "It's just so funny." And by the way, do you know that TEDxSanDiego is accepting applications right now? You know, so
That's
the
incredible.
universe sends me the messengers. I call them angels. I see miracles every day. I have the greatest work. It really is the most amazing thing. So the heart of excuse me, the true cost of divorce is, I hope that one day it will be a tool. It will be a resource. When it is published on YouTube, it will be a resource that someone can forward to a friend, to a colleague, to a family member that says, "Hey, I know what you're going through, or I heard it's getting sticky over there with the divorce. Take a look at this video and go to this organization, read his book, because I think there's some resources out there that might help you guys." And it's not, because it's not his fault or her fault. You have the power, and you can take responsibility to disengage in a healthy way and do it in a way that's loving for the children. That's what my mission is. There's got to be another way to do it so the kids are not, there's this phrase that are not negatively impacted. I
Right.
call, what comes through me as a channel. I'm an intuitive, and it came out the other day with a client. I said, "Oh, you do know that you're actually abusing your child by doing that, right? You do know that you're actually committing child abuse by emotionally harming your children, by
Hmm.
by blaming him for not paying child support in front of them."
So let me ask you this, Stu. I love that you're saying that people now can watch your TEDx on the web, on YouTube, like we all
Yeah.
do. We love to watch it. I love that you're talking about miracles. If you watch my TEDx, I talk about miracles. I'm going to put mine up for a second because I shouldn't be able to talk. And I'm talking for a living after they removed my vocal cord nerve from cancer surgery. And I went on to win the Emmy Award and do television, be a talk show host after they told me that would be impossible. So when you said miracles, I just lit up because I love miracles. And I love that you're an advocate of miracles and you talk about your angels and just everything I could see was so laid out for you. And I want you to talk just for a moment about, you're saying something very, very special here. I want everybody to hear. When you go and you don the TEDx stage and on that red dot, and this goes out to the world, it goes on YouTube. And now, if half the divorces, I know it's like half the divorces in America end in divorce. And I'm sure the stats are high on how many of those have children, because most people get married and they start having children, or have already had children, then they get married, whatever it is. There's usually children involved. I would more than likely think the majority. I'm sure there's some that aren't. And here you are able to help people now, and we can all be those angels of light saying, I know what you're going through. Instead of just saying, which is wonderful, I'm praying for you, you're in my thoughts, all of that. If you need anything, call me. Now we can say, hey, I ran across this TEDx talk, and everybody loves a TEDx talk. So it's not like we're just introducing them to, my neighbor down the street wrote a book, you should read it. It's like, I saw this gentleman on a TEDx talk. You should watch this because there's an alternative to the kids getting caught up in all the crossfire. And you can give them an alternative. You can give them some solutions that they don't even know they can ask for. Like, you just think this is the way you get divorced. Everybody's going to be hurting. The kids are going to be torn apart. That's just the way divorce is. And for us to now be able to share a solution, a better way, an alternative on the prestigious stage of a TEDx, which right there, anytime I tell people go watch my TEDx, they go and do it because they're like, oh, TEDx, I love TEDx. So good for you for jumping into this, and good for your friend for saying you should do a TEDx, because that will
Thank
open
you.
up conversation. Yeah,
You are you are a miracle, and thank you, because you're helping to raise consciousness and raise awareness by having me on. And so when the stage is one thing, and June 11th is going to be so fun to talk with the people there, but it's really about YouTube is the platform where this will be a resource. It's not about me. It's about, I'm a change maker. I want to see those hearts of the children being not only protected, but they should be filled with love. And so I like to lead people to when it's published, the True Cost of Divorce on YouTube, The Heart of Divorce, which is my book, my Waves of Love workshops, personal healing opportunities, the Love Before Law the Love Before Law Foundation. So my organization is called Center for Child Safe Divorce.org. And so right there are going to be resources for everyone, clergy, counselors, and coaches instead of court. People cannot do this by themselves. Instead of calling the lawyer, please, and you'll hear it in my talk, if you're spending more on lawyers than you are on family counseling, you have it backwards.
Oh, that's good.
And a child safe, and I won't give it away yet because it hasn't happened yet, but the definition, or what I call a child safe divorce, it doesn't start at the time of divorce, it starts at the time of marriage. So I'm calling on the clergy in this country. If the clergy were held to the same, and I love the clergy, I'm a spiritual man. If the clergy were held to the same standards that our sports, the managers and general managers of our sports teams are, Major League Baseball and football and hockey, their win-loss record is 50%. And 1 million innocent spectators are being injured every year. Those are the children. They'd never keep their jobs.
Yeah.
So I'm calling on the clergy to do more upfront. It's called a premarital. It's an ethical agreement between two people who get married, that in the event nobody wants to think about it when they get married, but it's the responsibility of clergy to use this tool. And I'm going to have it at centerforchildsafedivorce.org.
Okay.
It's just an agreement between the parents that say, we're going to have a neutral third party in place, just like two businesses that merge. They're not going to solve their problems. They're going to have a consulting firm. They're going to have lawyers in place to solve the problem.
Great idea.
So why aren't we doing this from the very start of a marriage?
Yeah.
So that's what a child safe divorce is. It starts long. I hope nobody ever needs it.
Right, but they do.
But it says we're going to make a commitment to one another. We love each other so much that in the event we have children and this doesn't work, we will do it in a way that's kind for each other and kind for our children. That's it.
And if you already implement the mediator, then when things get hot and heavy, because you're right, emotions run crazy and you're not thinking straight. And 10 years down the road, this is happening. You're not newlyweds anymore. And hurt has happened or whatever has gone awry. You're like ripping up papers at that moment. You have that mediator already in place. Just pick up the phone and say, take the wheel, just take the wheel.
My favorite clients that see me during a conflicted divorce experience, and they stay with me long enough so that when they're entering into new relationships and new partnerships, I go, great, you want me in place now to coach. Like no business would do this, but this regular, think about it. When you work for a company, there's performance reviews built in. Think about what you do with your car. You do preventative maintenance every 3 months or 5,000 miles or 6,000 miles, whatever it is, you take it in and you take it to an expert. Why don't we do this for our relationships, especially when there's children involved?
Exactly. Now, you can't do all, you want to help the world. Obviously, your passion is like huge that you want to help as many as we can. Divorce is rampant. It's huge. It's not like a small community of people that get divorced and have kids. Do you train other people? So people are listening and watching thinking this would be so perfect for me to do. I would love to be this type of mediator. I have this passion. Could I do this themselves? Do you train other people to do this? Because there's only one of you and there's millions of divorces and millions of children.
Yes. On the other side of the TEDx talk that's in the works, to be able to not only aggregate this alliance of clergy, counselors, and coaches. So it's therapists, mediators, and members of the clergy that are in this, what I'm calling Enlightened Professional Alliance, the Love Before Law Professional Alliance. And I don't talk about divorce. I talk about love, right? Okay. We know the divorce is happening. So yes, I'm so excited to train professionals and invite them into this alliance. And then they become certified. And all they do is they align with our ethical pledge that kids don't belong in the crossfire and that they agree to refer people to come here to get resources.
That's great, because I know there's a lot of people who are watching that people after, especially the pandemic, have been needing to pivot. And I know the counselors and therapists are booked out for the next decade and a half
Yeah.
because of everything. But this is a whole different community, the children that are probably not being serviced in this way, whether they can be being serviced for depression, ADHD, and all the things, the school problems that we've had since then. But this one, I've never heard anybody talking about how to help the children make it through the divorce, I'm not going to say unscathed, but at least not scathed like they would be without the support and the help that you give. So good for you for teaching other people how to do it as well, because it seems like we need one of these in every zip code to help people, because it's so many people. And I know a therapist right now is very hard to find for any ailment, any depression. They are so overbooked and so overrun. Now I'm telling the next generation, go into this type of work because it is so needed now more than ever. There's a shortage of psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, healers, people that help, people that are spiritual, that can help life be better.
The next generation is actually, they are coming to the planet, the indigos and the early indigo. And I don't know if you heard this term, but then the indigo children, my son is one. And then the crystal child. And then the crystal children are the generation after this. So these are the children who are coming. Not all are created the same. So generationally, the souls that are coming to the planet, and this is spiritual stuff. Okay. This is the woo-woo stuff.
Sorry.
Each generation is coming with more evolved, more spiritually aware. Okay. And if you like, a little example of it is, how a kid they can take a remote control or an iPhone and not need the instructions, right? Yeah. Because they just intuitively know how to do these things. We don't. We have to look them up or watch something and learn, right? So the kids are also becoming more heart-centered, right? They're coming to the planet more sensitive. And so it's the next generations in the Native American spiritual belief system. There are 7 generations before us that are imprinted in our DNA, and our life experiences will imprint on the DNA of 7 generations to come.
Interesting.
And so when I realized my mission and my purpose, and then understanding this, it's all about community. It's all about the village. It's all about the children. There's a tribe in Africa. I won't quote it. I don't remember by heart. But the first greeting, the way that the elders greet one another when they come to a new village, the first question they ask is, "And how are the children?" Because they can tell the health of the tribe, the health of the village, by how the children are doing. And oh my gosh,
how interesting.
If someone were to come from outer space and come to planet Earth and then come to the United States of America and ask that question, and we just had a school shooting.
Yeah.
Or we just had a shooting in a mall. And how are the children?
Not good.
So nearly every school shooter came from a broken home or a divorced family. And I'm not going to say that that's the reason. No, it's not. I'm saying we have a fundamental breakdown, and we have the opportunity to heal individually, collectively, and it starts with ourselves. It starts with our loved ones. Our if we can have love for our co-parent and see their behavior different from who they are, how they are versus who they are. Their behavior is based on their emotions. But they're a divine soul just like we all are. And if we once loved them, can't we love them today? If for no other reason that they helped create this beautiful child in between, or children in between. So
everybody that I know that's ever on board said the one good thing that came out of it was the children, were the kids. There's always that happy ray of light, that silver lining that we got the kids. And
lessons.
I know on both sides.
There are always lessons and growth that happen from a quote unquote failed relationship. Not all relationships are meant to be lifelong partnerships. Everything that's happening and breaking down is for some greater purpose. And I'm living proof of it. So are you.
So so many people are. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm so glad that you came on the show and you're talking about something that I've never had anybody come on the show and talk about. Yeah, this is a really great topic. And I'm getting the most incredible people coming from the TEDx stage. The San Diego TEDx is going to be absolutely incredible. The new ideas, you're all different in so many different ways, but you're all the same and similar, that you want to make an impact on the world. You want to make the world a better place. You have all these really cool ideas and programs and nonprofits, and you want to help in such a big way that kudos to all of you. I just love the TEDx community.
I have to give a plug to that. And I know you're a TEDx speaker, but TEDxSanDiego, I think, is doing something so powerful and so unique. And it's probably the chief curator, Audrey Jacobs, it's like all her personality in this. She has created a tribe. She's created a family among the speakers. They have made it all about local speakers for the first time ever. It's just San Diego, and they're pouring in so much amazing positive energy and just spreading seeds of change. It's a beautiful theme. I'm really, truly honored to be a part of it.
I thought that was great. I was talking to one of your other speakers a little while ago, and they said that I know when we do TEDx, that TEDx is always a theme. And I tell people not necessarily your best TEDx stage is going to be close to you. It might be in a different city, different state, different country, because it usually goes by a theme. And if you fit that theme, whether it's science or theater or biology or ecosystem, whatever it is, you got to go find your theme. And this one's the first one I've heard about that is literally the local matters. It's all about San Diego. I think that is probably going to be a new thread around town where more TEDx will pop up doing it just for their city, making a difference. And I think that's powerful because when you all meet together, powerful thinkers like TEDx speakers are, you're going to really change your community. I know you've got people talking about the sex trafficking, people talking about feeding the poor, all this, and all of you coming together to make all this difference in one city instead of breadcrumbs going all over the world trying to break through. You become this snowball of all these beautiful snowflakes coming together. And the impact avalanche you're going to do in the city.
Exactly right. The energy around it is so powerful, and I can feel it as an intuitive and an energy healer. It's so powerful, and it's just going to go like this. I have to add the TEDxSanDiego team has made a special accommodation, and it deserves mention. You can't tell this, but I'm a man with silent and visible disabilities.
I was just about to ask you about this. This is good.
I have a neurodivergent brain. It works differently.
What does that mean?
Well, as a result of brain injury, I do not have the same capacity to memorize and, more specifically, recall information from memory once it's input. And so this was a very big challenge for me to get up on this stage and take this on. And I was practicing, and I sought all these amazing private resources, professional coaches, neurological experts. TEDx team was like researching how they could help me. And it ended up being that my brain just, even with positive affirmations and everything else, and all the things that were introduced to me with this, my brain just doesn't do it. And so they are offering, and they're accommodating me. And so now it's a beautiful platform where I'm I couldn't find it. I don't know that there's been another TEDx speaker that's had the ability to use a podium, and I'm using an iPad, a tablet with a scrolling, what's it called, teleprompter on it, just in case I cannot recall information under pressure. It's literally like it's a processing difference in my brain, and it's a verified disability. And the thing is, you can't see it, and I won't let you see it. I've spent a long time hiding it, and then,
now you're talking about it. You're going to help people.
Exactly. Hiding, denying, and repressing. We call that shadow work in my practice. And so not only is the stage going to advance this idea worth spreading about the true cost of divorce, they are now not only accommodating me, but they're putting a mention in the program, and they're putting it out on YouTube, that not only are they supporting me, but they support everyone like me. And so it's really awesome. they're doing such amazing work here.
That really touches my heart, because when I was doing my TEDx last year, I remember that there was I kept thinking, here's the thing. I have been through chemo, which definitely gives you brain fog. I've passed menopause, which definitely gives you brain fog. I used to be an actress, so I used to memorize, and all that was easy for me. But after all this time goes by, and I have not used those muscles in 23 years, because everything I've done recently, last decade or so, has been unscripted, research, but unscripted. And when I knew I was going to go on the TEDx stage, and they said there's no teleprompters, I'm like, no. They said, well, maybe we can get one for way far up, and I can't see that far anyway. And that would bother me. I couldn't be in the moment and be looking way up in the platform, and it wasn't really doable. So they said none of them really do it. I said they don't all do a teleprompter. Nobody does. They all memorize it. I'm like, really? So then my coach actually
Right.
got my speech down to, the 9 minutes. But still, to me, that was with
It's a lot.
a brain that is not had brain injury. Still was thinking, oh my gosh, that was my big nerve. Can I do
Right.
this? Can I do this? And since you understand the brain, I did all of my techniques. I did all the ways I used to memorize when I did show business and did the plays. But I'm still thinking, I'm older. I haven't done this. I've had chemo. I've had menopause. The whole thing's supposed to fog up your brain. But I say, okay, stop thinking about that. Just do what you do. And I'll never forget. I walked out on that red dot. I've done everything. It took about 2 weeks. Really thought, okay, I've got this. And it's okay. Walk out on the red dot. And I love the stage. But now I had to memorize it because on TEDx, you have to land your plane. You can't ramble. And I didn't want to ramble. My story was so well written by a beautiful script writer. She was Haley Foster was absolutely amazing. She captured my story. And it's like, I've got to do this. And she was sitting in the audience. And I go out on the red dot. And for a moment, I drew a blank. And all I could remember was the first line. And I said the first line. And then you'll love this. As a photographic memory, like a ticker tape, like a teleprompter in my vision, I saw my pages and I started going. And I didn't miss a line. I didn't miss a word.
Amazing.
But I just started seeing it. And it was like this miracle, like you said, that I stretched myself beyond what I thought I could do because it's been so long to realize the brain is an amazing thing. Even sitting dormant for so long, but those particular brain muscles came back, kind of like riding a bicycle. But boy, I gave it a test where I walked down like, and then I said, okay, first line is, and then there it was. So I'm glad I did that because I felt the fear and did it anyway. And
thank you for sharing that. There's a lot of people say, Stu, you can do this, and I was saying, you're right, I can. I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to train my brain. I'm going to open up new neurological pathways. And the truth was, I have so many amazing gifts, and I also have this real challenge, and it's real. And the equivalent was like, they were just saying they couldn't see my wheelchair. You'd never say that. You'd never say, hey man, walk up those steps. You can do it.
I love
and you got 30 days to practice. You got 30 days to do this. So you can walk up, you can walk up those steps, man. I believe in you. Well, you'd never say that to someone who didn't have legs, who was in a wheelchair, assisted wheelchair. And so when I realized it, I got to tell it to myself and I got to explain it to them. And then they go, oh my gosh, oh, we're here to help you. We're totally going to help you with this. And so I'm just up there as a man. That seems to be how I show up on the planet, to make a difference for others. Yeah.
And that's even better. To me, that's better. I love obstacles, and I love when the people band together. That's going to be so much more memorable, so incredible. You're going to change the TEDx world too. Because of that, they're going to open you up to realize you just can't tell people that have brain injury, just you can do it because you just said it so beautifully. Tell somebody in a wheelchair, just get up and walk. You got to expect your miracle. Expect it, you may someday, but physically it's probably not going to happen. And you need to accommodate. We had somebody in a wheelchair actually at our TEDx. We had to have a ramp. We wouldn't tell her, come on down, walk. You got to make it. There's a couple of stairs. You can do it.
Bingo. Exactly. Exactly.
So
thank you. So I will stand up there. And I will have that support if I need to rely on it. And they have given that and supported me in that. And it's just a statement to let all others that if there are people who haven't considered doing a TED Talk, who have a brilliant, amazing idea worth spreading, that they should submit and they should apply to a TEDx somewhere, and they can do it, and they will be supported if they need the support.
What a perfect ending to such a great, I don't want to say interview, it was more of a conversation that we had to open up the minds of people for now on this, as well as helping kids through this type of trauma we never really think about. Maybe we don't want to think about it because so many people get divorced. We just don't want to, the kids will be fine. Most people say, oh, kids are resilient, they'll bounce back. I've heard that a million times. They're resilient, they'll bounce back. Meaning well. I mean, everybody means well. But taking it to a different level, if we all look back from all of us, and I've come from a divorced family too, that could we bounced back better, faster?
Exactly.
If we had help? Sure, we'll eventually make it, maybe. Maybe not.
Children are, yeah, I love that you brought that up. Children are resilient. Children will bounce back, but they have to be nurtured back. They have to be, I've made amends to my child. I looked at him and I got down on his level and I said, hey, buddy, I realize there's been some stuff you've been through and I'd love to talk about it. If you'd like to talk about it with me, I'm here to listen.
Yeah.
And I asked him, how did it make you feel? And I listened. And I said, what can I do to make that right with you, man? And he goes, you just did.
Aw.
You just did, Dad. You know?
Aw.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard sometimes when you and Mom. I could tell you guys were fighting or you were angry at each other, even though I couldn't hear you guys talking. I knew that you were pissed at each other.
Feel it, yeah.
But just to acknowledge it with them and give them rest their heart, talk about it. And again, people need to go to an expert on this. They need to go to a professional, clergy, counselors.
I'm putting your website up
coaches.
one more time because I want people to reach out to you. StuWeintraub.com, which is WEINTRAUB.com.
Yes.
So if you go to TEDxSanDiego, you'll see him up there. His website is there, TEDxSanDiego.com. Stu, you've been absolutely amazing. The founder, the founder of Waves of Love. You started the Center for Child Safe Divorce. So much good stuff. The alternative to divorce in this country is definitely you and people like you. I hope you train a whole army of people that have this gift and this sensitivity to help and do what you do and keep this legacy going for generation and generation. And with that, I'm going to ask you one question because I know you're going to have a juicy answer. Haven't asked it in a little bit, but I want to ask you because this is generational.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you want your legacy to be? Because you do so much, but how do you really want to be remembered?
I'm a man. Oh, you just said so much. I'm a man who's inspired minds, healed hearts, and awakened souls. And my number is 400 million people on planet Earth if I have that exposure because of people like you having me on to share this message. And I serve my creator. I'm here to work for the source that made me here. I am not about self-advancement. I'm about advancing this message and doing service for others. And so what I want my legacy to be was that it was a man that overcame obstacles in his life. He never gave up, and he left an impact. He left a legacy of change in helping people be more loving to themselves and to others on the planet.
And to the kids. Cheers to the children. Thank you so much, Stu. What a pleasure. What an honor. Cannot wait to see you because I will be watching from online for TEDxSanDiego. And I know we're going to be friends for a long time. And I'm just so glad to meet you. And this is only the beginning of all the help you're going to do. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Come to America's finest city. We'd love to have you in San Diego.
I'd love to. Yes, I know your San Diego was sold out, but I have family in Los Angeles, so I absolutely get down to San Diego. So we will make that
live
happen.
Stream. It's going to be on live stream for it's available for like oh my gosh, for $20. People can live stream it. It's 5 hours, 14 speakers, 4 entertainers. It's amazing.
You had me at hello. I will be there and I'll be sharing this. So absolutely so excited for you. And then your message will go on and on. So thank you, Stu. And thank you everybody for watching another episode of Get Celebritized, where we help you earn more, to live more, to give back more. And then other times we come and just totally inspire you to help you have a bigger impact on your world and your community, to give you hope for the future. And that's what this episode was all about. Thank you. Until next time, this is Aurea signing out. Bye, Stu.
Bye. Thanks so much for having me.